A human found her bleeding out. What he did next shocked the galaxy. The battle over Veridan 4 had ended 3 hours ago. Smoke still curled into the burnt orange skies, and the dead littered the broken plains. No victor. No peace. Just silence. Elias Drake, a human scout medic, picked his way carefully through the wreckage, his boots crunching over metal shards and alien bones. He was supposed to return to his squad, but the voice on his communicator had faded into static, and somewhere beneath the rubble he heard a whimper. He paused, gun raised, and slowly lowered it. The sound wasn't hostile. It was weak, pained. He followed it. 10 meters ahead, half buried under the twisted remains of a skimmer tank, lay a figure, slender, armored in silver with accents of deep blue. An Aurelian, enemies of the Coalition, born of the stars. Tall, proud, telepathically sensitive. And now, bleeding out, she looked barely conscious, a gash stretching from her midsection down her thigh. Blood, iridescent violet, poured into the soil. Her chest rose and fell rapidly. One of her forefingers twitched. Elias hesitated. Orders were clear. Do not engage with enemy wounded, especially not Aurelians. They were too dangerous, too unpredictable. But this woman looked more broken than terrifying. He knelt beside her. She opened her eyes, striking, glowing faintly with golden light. Her gaze flicked his patch. Recognition, fear, and then something else. He expected her to attack or curse him. Instead, she whispered, "Is this the end?" Elias blinked. "Not if I can help it." And against every rule, every regulation, every instinct of a soldier in enemy territory, he reached for his medical pack. The wound was deep, her left leg nearly severed. Organ damage. She would die in minutes without intervention. Elias worked fast, spraying biofoam, sealing arteries, applying Regan pads. "You are not Aurelian," she murmured, voice weak but steady. "Nope," he said, trying not to panic. "Just a guy who hates watching people die." Her brow furrowed. "Why help me? Why not?" "Because I am your enemy." "Maybe, but right now, you're just someone bleeding to death." She stared at him for a moment longer, then closed her eyes. Elias wasn't sure if she was unconscious or simply choosing to trust him. Hours later, he dragged her into a nearby cave, deep and dry, a shelter from the burning sky. She survived the first night. Barely. He rationed his water, used all of his stims on her. Her fever spiked. Twice she cried out in a language he didn't know. He held her hand once, just to calm her. On the second day, she opened her eyes fully. "You are still here," she said, confused. "Yeah, I don't leave patients behind." She studied him. "Your people bombed this planet. So did yours." "Fair." He laughed despite himself. "What's your name?" he asked. She hesitated, then said, "Sarai." "Elias." Silence stretched between them. Then she whispered, "I owe you a debt." "You owe me nothing," he replied. But that was the first lie he told her, because already her survival meant something to him. More than orders, more than war. The third night, a squad of human soldiers passed nearby. Elias hid with Sarai in the shadows of the cave. She clutched his arm tightly, afraid they'd execute her on sight. He placed a finger to his lips. She nodded, trusted him. When they were gone, she looked at him strangely. "You risk your own people's judgment." He looked back at her. "You risked yours the moment you didn't kill me." She didn't answer, but something shifted between them. The fifth day, her leg was ruined, beyond saving. Elias made the decision to amputate what was left, using fire-sterilized tools and shaky hands. She screamed, but didn't fight him. Afterward, drenched in sweat, he collapsed beside her. "I'm sorry," he whispered. She grasped his wrist. "You saved me, even at cost." "That doesn't make it right. It makes it honorable." The 8th day, Sarai sat up for the first time. She had fashioned a crude crutch from scrap metal. Her balance was poor, but she managed. Elias supported her, his hand around her waist. "You'll walk again," he said. "I will run," she whispered, determination burning in her. He smiled. "That's more like it." She touched his face gently, her fingers brushing a scar near his temple. "Humans are strange. Tell me something I don't know." The 10th day, they were discovered, not by humans, but by Aurelians. 3 soldiers, cloaked in thin shielding, landed outside the cave. Sarai stiffened. "They are mine," she said, "but they will not accept you." "I figured," Elias said, already rising. "You should go, now, before they see you." He didn't move. "Elias," she said urgently, "if they find you with me, helping me, they'll kill you." He looked at her for a long moment, then nodded. He stepped outside the cave, hands up, leaving her behind. What happened next shocked the galaxy. When the Aurelian soldiers saw him, they charged weapons. But before they could fire, Sarai hobbled out behind him, leaning on her crutch. "Stand down," she shouted. They hesitated. "General Sarai?" one of them asked. "Yes," she said. "This human saved my life." The soldiers exchanged stunned looks. "He is not your enemy," she said. "He is my protector, my medic, my debt." One soldier spoke. "By our law, you may claim a life debt, but for a human, I invoke the right of stone and flame," she declared. They gasped. "That is ancient. Forbidden." "I don't care." Silence. Then one soldier slowly lowered his weapon. "Then by ancient code, we must protect him as we would you." 1 week later, news spread. A human medic had saved an Aurelian general's life. She had invoked a rite unseen for centuries. She called him honored. She shielded him with Aurelian law. Galactic networks couldn't believe it. Politicians panicked. But something strange happened. People talked. For the first time, Aurelians and humans sat at tables together, not as enemies, but as witnesses to something more powerful than war: compassion. In the end, Elias stayed by Sarai's side as she recovered. When her prosthetic was fitted, she took her first step alone, then turned and smiled at him. "I told you I'd run." "You did, and you stayed." "I always will." She tilted her head. "Why?" He grinned. "Because you'd never forgive me if I didn't." They laughed, and somewhere above them, 2 flags that once opposed each other began to fly on the same pole, fluttering not in conquest, but in quiet peace.